the prophet Isaiah. Forget the former things. Do not dwell on the past. See, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs up. Do you not perceive it? They shall beat their swords into plowshares and their spears into pruning hooks. Nation shall not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they learn war any more. Welcome to the Citizen Arts podcast series, Israeli Voices, Who We Are. Episode 1, Rockers, Guns, Zizit, Urban Chic and Limestone in Jerusalem, Rediscovering the Good Life in the Negev Desert, Tears at Blood Road in the Nova Festival, Kibbutz Triumphs and Horror near Gaza. Oh, there's an appreciative crowd around these two guys strumming. Would you believe this? The one's blowing in the wind. I say believe it because we are near Jerusalem's old city, Jaffa Gate. They've got this longest straggly hair and beards. Their English is unaccented, sounding very American. They got a lot of electric guitar gear. You take them for rockers out of the 1960s. Certainly old enough to be that. But with a twist, after all, this is Jerusalem, so they're wearing kippahs or skull caps, payet or side locks, and zizit or prayer strings, and it's all blowing in the wind. Cafes are packed. It's a really young crowd, and they are big talkers. I could hear them from blocks away. Amazed by the number of smokers. This is really disconcerting. You'd think they've gotten the message by now. It's a very chic crowd, the men and the women. Most of the men are bearded and kipped and zizited. I'm not sure I'm pronouncing that right. Zizited. But they have their side locks. Yeah, they got the side locks, but they have them stylishly tucked behind their ears, so you don't even know they've got them. You gotta look. Many the male strollers are in full Orthodox garb, which means dark suits and something like fedoras. Women, modest, blousy dresses. Married ones wearing headscarves or wigs. Some men have handguns holstered at waist, very apparent. Some have semi-automatic weapons slung over their shoulders. I'm told they're Army reservists. Just left a falafel joint where one of them had his rifle muzzle practically nudging my thigh, and I have to tell you, that takes some getting used to. Right, trolleys are packed. Yesterday they weren't even operating. Cafes and stores, all these places that are now so crowded, were completely shuttered tight. These crowded streets were barren. It was a Saturday Shabbat. About the only sounds you heard were singing and chanting coming through open windows. Now this is interesting. Here's a family scooting across the trolley tracks. It's a mom and dad wheeling a baby. And Dad's short and kind of pudgy. Kind of reminds me of my attorney. But he's got a rifle swinging to his knees. Certainly less the warrior and more the scholar look. These guns, told they're U.S. manufacture, they are lethally really ugly. Threatening, at least to me. And they're all over the place. Maybe I should feel good about that. Not far from here, well, one could think of it, nothing in Israel is really far from here. A bus was attacked by terrorists. Some Army reservists, maybe looking just like this guy, raised their rifles and took them out. Everywhere is this Jerusalem limestone that kind of embraces, I think it magnifies this city's everywhere historical significance. What I really appreciate, what I love is at sunset, that limestone, its earthy tones, it kind of ignites into gold. Celebrates the glories and follies of, let me think about this, who's been here? You got your Canaanites and Babylonians, Greeks, Romans, Jews, Arabs, Christians. I'm sure I've left a lot out. Tomorrow our journey begins. We're hoping to meet people whose voices can help us, and hopefully you, our dear listeners, understand this totally magnetic, utterly complicated land. We joined soldiers online. We're placing food orders at a fast food restaurant stop. And we've been chatting with this traveler from Tel Aviv. So you volunteer?
Yes, we move people from destroyed kibbutz home to a temporary house. We do all the installation stuff, TVs, whatever they need. This is what we do usually on the weekend.
We're about to visit one of those temporary homes, actually. So what do you do when you're not volunteering?
I work for Apple at an engineering center north of Tel Aviv. I am an engineer.
Nevo, how are you? Man, it's been a while.
I'm good. How are you?
It's good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you too.
This is really unusual. What do you call this kind of structure?
I think it's called a yurt.
Aren't the yurts in like Mongolia?
Yeah. I think it's more permanent here.
I feel like I'm in a giant teepee.
Yeah, we love it.
Let's take a little walk.
Yeah. The next night after the attack, they told everyone to leave the kibbutz. We went in cars and buses to a hotel by the Red Sea. We were there for like 1 month. Many people in a small place. Eventually then we come to here, to Ashalim, this communal settlement. People of Ashalim was very helpful. They helped us find a house to live.
How far are we from your kibbutz?
About 35 minutes.
What happens next as far as your living situation goes?
That's the biggest question of it all. Everyone asks me that. I want to go back to the kibbutz. Most of the people already returned there. We are waiting for the war to fully end.
What is it about your kibbutz that appeals to you?
Basically, education is really good. There's like real community, really bound together. I miss the communal living.
What is that huge structure over there? We could see the sun reflecting off it from 30 kilometers away.
There is a power station with mirrors to concentrate sunlight on solar panels, supplies power to many parts of Negev and other places.
What was that?
That's it's a military base.
So that's just practicing?
Yeah, we're used to it.
What are you doing these days?
I'm a software engineer, agricultural technology. I'm responsible for the company's cloud infrastructure. Most of what I do is from home. AI is changing the way I work from every aspect. Yeah, I'm a big fan of it. I'm managing a team. I feel like I have 10 more people in the team because they're using AI for research.
Well, I think you should know that your voice will probably be completely changed when Jeff puts you through our AI system.
Okay, maybe it will be my wife's voice. Maybe that would be better.
Does your wife also want to go back?
My wife is less certain about it. She is an artist. Now she's a teacher here in school.
Your name. What is the derivation of your name?
Nevo is the mountain that Moses was standing on and saw the Israel land. It's a mountain on the border of Lebanon.
I have to ask Nevo, Garfunkel. Any relation to Garfunkel as in Simon and
of course I do.
Garfunkel?
Of course I do.
Yeah, we figured. Is your kibbutz religious or secular?
Secular. I'm not a religious person.
Are you an atheist?
Yeah, I have some traditions in the Judaism culture which I value and love, but it's not coming from a place where I believe there's someone above us who maintain and decide everything.
What do you value most in your Jewish heritage?
The Jewish belonging. I wish for my sons, or maybe my grandsons, to have more religion than me. I wish Judaism, like traditionally, culturally, to be a bigger part in the non-religious people in Israel, which connects us all together. It's basically why we're all here.
Is this your younger son's school?
Yes, here is Ben.
Shalom, Ben. How old are you?
He's 2.5 years old.
Do the children here just learn Hebrew?
No, they learn English also.
Look at him just skipping along. A happy boy.
He is.
What kind of tree is this?
It is tamarisk.
Is that the same as tamarind?
It is different. It is a very common tree in the desert, famous in the story of Abraham in the Bible.
Living out here. I mean, this community is off the beaten track. It's beautiful.
Yes.
Let's say
You could change one thing
All right.
in your life or in the world or in Israel or whatever. But what would it be?
To be back in peace to the community where we wanted to live in. And I think the implications of it are national.
For it to work in your life, in your kibbutz,
Yeah.
it has to work nationally, which means it has to work throughout the
Middle East.
which means it has to work throughout the world.
That's it.
Blood Road. That's what they've called this highway since October 7th, 2023. Armed Palestinians from Gaza, they came by truck and motorcycle and motorized paragliders. And they killed the Israelis they encountered. Along the highway are these rocket shelters. This is where Israelis tried to escape from them, tried to hide. And now these rocket shelters are memorials. All of a sudden, we've come upon rows of tour buses. We're pulling into the site of the Nevo Music Festival. Many of the murdered on Blood Road were fleeing from here. It's a forest of grief. Recently planted saplings, each one for one of the murdered. The Israelis that plant trees for joyful occasions, triumph, and for tragedy. A growing life, and shade and succor and sanctuary in this otherwise very dry and barren space. In front of the festival bandstand is a field of placards on poles, spontaneous memorials, each displaying a photo and a story, and each encompassed by little piles of diaries and lockets and notes, other personal items, ceramic flowers. Hundreds were slaughtered here and near here. On this day, hundreds have come to commemorate. Israelis, foreigners, all like me, I imagine, beset by those macabre specters of rape and massacre and kidnapping, captured on cell phones and sent off to the world. The hushed voices around me they're kind of like a dirge. The faces in the photos, so young, joyous and vital, expectant, innocent, and all lost. Beyond comprehension for me why these things happen. And what about Gaza? A few kilometers away, what about Gaza? What about it? All we know is what we see on TV screens, scenes of most otherworldly destruction, bodies carried by mourners, children lost, parents dead. But when I'm feeling for that, am I being sincere, honest with myself? I think so. I hope so. I would go there if they'd let me in. I would go and I would bear witness. As I do here, I would surely feel the desolation, surely have a sense of the horror these people must have experienced in their last moments. But that matter, that I know, that I'm horrified, it would matter to me. A soldier, she's standing alone before a memorial and arms hugging her chest. She has a rifle hanging at her side and her whole body is shaking. I can see she's crying over the photo of a young woman who's laughing. There are many soldiers, but they're all heavily armed, but they seem approachable. Excuse me, do you speak English?
Yes, I do.
Do you know anyone who died here?
Yes, but there is no order to it. I have not yet found him. But anyway, we know them all. You have come to learn about this sad story?
To learn more, to feel it. The horrors that happened here, we've seen them on TV in the States.
Yes.
What's your name?
Neil?
I'm Jim. Very glad to meet you. You're a captain?
Major. Captain is 3. Like this. And Colonel is 2. Like this.
Next for you is Colonel?
Yes. Like him. Over there. He is my commander.
Where are you stationed?
The middle of the country.
You're on leave today and you came here?
No, it's study day.
What's a study day?
Part of training, see firsthand, know better why they serve. We are going now.
Okay, Neil, it's been a pleasure. Take care. Stay healthy.
Thank you, you too.
Blood Road, Nova Festival, distant, impersonal horrors until now. We're approaching kibbutz Be'eri in the Negev desert, Israel's southland, biggest chunk of the country's territories. I'm looking out there at the sand dunes and I'm imagining sandal prints in the desert left by Egyptians, Philistines. Never thought I would have such a thought. Israelis have made the desert bloom, particularly here around Beersheba, which we are now passing. It's a place of man-made, human-made blossoms, corporate technology parks, universities, high-rises, and IKEA. But these settlements we see along the highway of Bedouin Arabs, they look pretty distressed. To the west, city shimmers. I wonder if that's a mirage. Oh, it's there, and it's the Gaza Strip. I'm looking at the Gaza Strip. It's very near, but a little too far to make out the details. I just can't believe I'm here. We just passed a sign that said, "Bring back Gali and Zev." These were twin brothers taken hostage by Hamas on October 7th. They were the lucky ones. They were returned alive. Israeli flags, memorials, barbed wire, all along the road. Okay, we're coming up to the kibbutz, and there's the gate, and there's a woman in an army uniform, a rifle on her lap, and a cell phone at her ear. She kind of glances at our credentials and goes back to her conversation, waving us in. I was expecting a much more martial kind of welcome. Eyal.
Hi,
Hi, Jim Gabe.
welcome to kibbutz Be'eri.
Great to meet you.
The first place we go is to Be'eri Printers, the largest printer in Israel, and I'm head of business development here.
You live in this kibbutz?
So normally Now, after the events of October 7th, we live about 30 kilometers to the east in a temporary kibbutz. And I'm commuting daily to work in Be'eri.
We saw a lot of cars coming in here.
Oh, today there is a funeral of Yossi Sharabi. Yossi was kidnapped from Be'eri and unfortunately died in captivity. His body, he was returned. And today will be the funeral and a lot of people are going to come. 100 people died here. We were 1,000 in Be'eri before October 7th.
How far are we from the Gaza Strip?
It's about 4 kilometers. This is like a family business, okay? So even as a teenager, I was wrapping envelopes and things like that. My mother grew up here. My dad came here at 18. After I was released from the army, immediately I started working here. I travel around Israel looking for new lines of business.
Who owns this plant?
All the members of the kibbutz, yes.
So the income, it paid for the kibbutz to function.
Exactly. The word kibbutz comes from Hebrew word to collect. This is collective community.
How do you get into a kibbutz? Is it open?
Two ways, really. One is you were born into a kibbutz. The other is after military service. You apply. The people who are kibbutz member, they can vote you in or vote you out.
Why did you choose to stay in the kibbutz?
My immediate answer would be this kibbutz is like something like a small family. You know everyone for good and for bad. And then when you get to, let's say, between 20 and 30, you need to make a decision. Do you want to stay or do you not want to stay? There is a big economical incentive to stay because the place is doing well. Financially, it was home. For me, it was like, there was no question about it. In Israel, there are, let's say, 250 kibbutzes, and about 25 of them are still living in the old communal way, which essentially, the most important thing is that the wages of the people go to the community and not to their pockets, and then the community, let's say, provide for their needs. That's the basic concept, okay? Most kibbutz are now like villages, towns, people living more independently.
There's like a mayor, one person?
There's like a mayor, it's called a secretary. Some kibbutz is called chairman. There are committees. I've been involved in some of them for, let's say, 15 years now, especially in financial ways.
Do people work in other places
To get income for the family to buy cars and things like that?
So we actually have communal cars. We have a lot of things that we share. Like the shared car thing is both because it's a kibbutz and it's also a financial thing because it's more economic. But for example, we have a dining room, which we'll see in a second. So you eat in the dining room.
You don't eat at home?
You can, but you have all main meals in the dining room.
And who runs the dining room? Who serves the food?
It depends. If you go 40 years back, it will be members of the kibbutz, and now there are people who run the place that you pay them either a catering company or direct employees of the kibbutz. It depends. Here the model is half and half.
So if you want to buy a TV for your home,
You can buy whatever you want. This is Gali, the secretary of the kibbutz.
hello, sir. Jim Gabe.
Hello.
It asked me if we have a mayor. I said we have a secretary. They're doing a podcast for the US.
Yes, Mayor, Secretary, Chairman, you are doing a podcast.
Yes, we are. This is Jeff Lewis, our producer.
Hello, it is a pleasure to meet you.
Very nice to meet you. We appreciate coming here to Be'eri.
It is good that you have come.
Gal was former CEO for the printing plant.
I was just asking, Eyal,
You want to buy something personally, where you get the money?
You get some money for, let's say, the everyday needs.
We call it budget. We give per person or per needs. If you have more kids, you have more each year.
If we earn extra money, and then because we are doing pretty well, then we have more money, some spending money.
So is there a communal bank?
The kibbutz has a bank account. and we give interest to the members.
We pay all the extras and all the needs and everything here that you see.
What about medical care?
The kibbutz pays for your medical needs.
We have the highest insurance for everyone, and we also have committees that say if you have really special needs, we'll take care of that. We give free dental care. I am sorry, but I have to go.
Okay. Thank you very much. Pleasure meeting you. Take care.
Yeah, take care.
So this is like the center of the kibbutz. This is the dining room, and this is like the main gathering place normally.
Is there a synagogue here?
Like 20-something years back, we decided to build a synagogue. It was a controversy. This is a secular place. One rule is there can be no effort to influence people in religion. The synagogue was damaged October 7th, but it is being rebuilt.
Are there bar and bat mitzvahs here? Weddings?
We do that. We have like the same Jewish ceremonies. We have them adapted to our, let's say, way of life.
These, I take it, are students going by? Where do they go to school?
Schools outside the kibbutz, nearby.
This would be public school system outside?
Yes. The different kibbutzes share a school.
The kibbutz is secular? I take it you consider yourself to be secular?
Yeah.
What does that mean to you?
It means that you will not have any religious rules apply here. You will not force religious rules.
Do you consider yourself to be an atheist?
Yes.
But somebody could live here who isn't an atheist?
Yes. We have some religious people living in Be'eri. If they want to get married and have religious ceremony, they can do that, or the burial or anything like that. You know, you do what you want, but you don't enforce on others.
On Shabbat, does the kibbutz function just like an ordinary?
No. No, we have a day off, like everyone.
Saturday is a day off?
Yeah. Friday, normally you don't work. Also, we work 5 days a week, so Sunday to Thursday.
Do young people leave the kibbutz? What's the trend?
Until October 7th, it was pretty clear that you want to go back here. You see, it's a very nice place, and
yeah, it's a lovely place.
And also economically speaking, because we do well. But now there are crazy, things to consider. I want to come back, and my kids want to come back. That I know for sure.
What was that? Sounds like explosions.
You heard the Gaza Strip. You heard the explosion from the Gaza Strip.
But I thought there was a truce. No fighting?
Well, it's Gaza Strip. You cannot know for sure what is happening.
You notice the sound anymore?
I hear it.
Yes. Prior to October 7th, for a number of years, there was a lot of problems with rockets being sent in from Gaza. Did that ever affect you? Do you have rocket shelters here?
So you have, you can see over there, the concrete thing.
Yes.
It's a safe area. 2 weeks before October 7th, I was here with my daughter and her friends, and there was a helicopter firing, and we ran to the shelter, even though there was nothing.
How do you raise kids dealing with that constant threat?
A lot of people will tell you that their kids are having nightmares and that they're scared. Mine were not scared, I think. Because whenever there was like an alarm, we would treat it like something which is either funny or ordinary, or just, okay, you hear the alarm, you have the place that protects you, you go there. It's like a drill. It's fine. It protects you. You don't need to worry. You just do that. But I can tell you that when you walk here, after October 7th, you always look around and think, okay, where's the Gaza Strip? And if there will be something, where do I run? It was in the back of your head. So maybe it's not normal, but I guess when you go on the New York City subway, you always think, what do you do if someone attacks you, right?
Right.
And I think it's about the same. So every place has its advantages and disadvantages, and as you can see, the advantages are really big here. Since after October 7th, we are safer. Army is in Gaza, Army is still around.
As part of the communal life, does everyone take part
in the security? For instance, you do patrolling.
That might have been true way back, but that's long gone. We have like a security unit for hire.
Let's say the alarms went off. You knew there was a rocket attack. What would you do?
I would run to the shelter. I know I have like 10 seconds to go in there before rockets come down, and I would lie down there.
Is there an armory here where you keep weapons?
That is a different topic because missiles are one threat.
Yeah.
And the other is infiltration. I never thought of that before October 7th. But my wife, I will tell you a story. We were going to build our new house. This was before October 7th. And we were picking the place in the corner of the kibbutz nearest the Gaza Strip. And my wife said this, is out of the question because this is the first place the terrorists would come. And on October 7th, that was the first place they came.
Wife always knows.
Yes.
What do you do when you're not working?
My main hobby, and I do it a lot, is to play bridge. Actually, there are quite a few people playing in Be'eri.
What are some of the other recreational kinds of things people do?
What are people doing? Sports hobbies, dancing, whatever you want.
So is there soccer, football, tennis, that sort of thing?
Yeah, sure.
Can we take a peek at the dining room?
Yeah. It's between meals, so no one is there.
Just reminds me of when I was in the army. Do you have assigned seating?
That's a good question, actually. There's an old saying about the kibbutz people that you always sit with your face to the entrance, so you see who is coming and can move fast. But now we have specific seats per family or per person.
It's sort of like cafeteria. You go up, get your food, bring it back to the table.
Exactly.
Yeah. What's your favorite meal?
Meat lasagna.
That sounds good. The people here, do they come from a common area of Europe?
It is unlike many places in Israel which have like a specific, let's say, characteristic. Here is more of a mix. The main founders were, half of them were from Eastern Europe, Germany, and the others were from Iraq. But then it was all a mix because a lot of people came. I was almost every day going with my kids around the kibbutz to pick the figs and other fruits. I knew all the trees which had fruits by the seasons, and there are quite a lot of them. This vacant place is the first house that was burnt on October 7th. The family was abroad. All of this area were damaged buildings that were taken down. This is where my kids went to kindergarten. The house here on my left, this is where I grew up.
More bombs in Gaza.
Yeah. That guy was kidnapped. The one driving by us.
He was kidnapped on October 7th?
Yes. He was returned after 50 days. So, I was saying earlier about the fruits.
These are grapefruit?
No, it's not grapefruit. You have to try this one. I haven't tasted it since October 7th. It's very sweet. Look, it's red. You have to try.
Is this a pomelo?
Yeah, a pomelo.
Wow, it is amazing.
Nobody is in any of these homes. Here was another house which was set on fire and totally burned.
How did the terrorists know where they were going?
It doesn't matter. They went everywhere.
Random violence.
My mother's aunt lived here. She was 97 at the time. She had the terrorists in her house and they let her live and she lives. The terrorists came in and then another woman came inside. She was shot. This is my house. It is a block of 3 houses and I was in the middle one. On October 7th, what happened was we were at home and our neighbors were at home as well. My wife, my 3 kids, and my dog. My dog would be the hero of the story. We got into the safe room in the morning because we had a lot of rockets being fired everywhere. When there are launches in Gaza Strip, you hear them. So we woke up because there was so many launches. We woke up, got into the safe room, and waited. It took about 20 minutes until we got a text message that say that there might be something like an infiltration. We did not comprehend. We think maybe it is for a different kibbutz, and we are all getting same message. And then the shots started everywhere. We understand that this is not normal. And I said, okay, we have quite a lot of army in the area. Okay, in a few minutes, the army will come and this will end. But the army doesn't come. And then you understand this is happening in a lot of places at the same time. And then you get really afraid, like nobody's coming. And then we started getting texts of what's happening around us in the kibbutz. My neighbor from the other side and his caretaker were murdered, but we were not aware at the time. There was a lot of bad news, a lot of instructions over the WhatsApp of how to hold the handle of the safe room door. Not stand in front of the doors because the doors are not bulletproof, and hold it like this, things like that. Really, I mean, things you don't expect. There was like a small gap, and there is a window in the toilet, so we hear through that people are talking in Arabic. And then we hear people going into my neighbor's house, and we hear them walking around. Our neighbor was 65 or so. She lied in her bed, and they just went in and shot her, and she died. And then they came to us, and we sealed the door with the sofa and chairs, and they couldn't open it. So they tried, breaking the door and couldn't. They were very persistent. They couldn't break the door, so they went in through the window above the kitchen. They got in. They walked around the house. I was holding the door handle. It was terrifying. And then something happened. My dog started barking like crazy. It was in the safe room with us. It was a big dog, very big dog. And we had a baby monitor, which we didn't think about it at the time, broadcasting into the living room, which might have been stupid, but it helped because they heard the dog like in stereo. It was, as I said, big dog and loud barks, and they left. But the story was not over because later we hear someone moving inside the house. And all the time there are shootings near the house, and you hear chatter in Arabic, and the end of the world is coming. And then soldiers arrive to the house, and we hear them shouting that there are terrorists inside the house. They have some kind of negotiation with them. They strip them out of their clothes and move them out of the house, did not kill them. They were rather youngsters, like 17. I think armed only with knives. They were the people who came to ruin houses and loot. I don't know what happened to them. Anyway, we got out and we are alive. Yeah. A month later was the first time I got back into the house. I wanted to take some things because when the soldiers took us out, they said, you have 1 minute. So we quickly packed the bag and went out. I was in my flip-flops. So when I go back a month later, I wanted to take my shoes. I find them. Then when I wore them, they felt a bit odd. Not my exact size. I came back to the house. Again later, I look around and I see the same type shoes, same color, and they fit. And then I understood that I'm terrorists captured by soldiers had the same shoes as me. I think about that many times, and I wonder what happened to that kid.
When I was in Israel shortly after October 7th, I met this guy who was in the Army Reserves, and he lived down in this area. He was called up right after the attack, and he was among the military units that went into the attacked kibbutzes early on. And I asked him if there were still any Palestinians, any terrorists in the kibbutz he went in. And he said yes. I asked him what happened to them. He said, all I can tell you is that none of them left the kibbutz. Later he told me, according to Israeli law, international law, if you have someone that is not a threat anymore, you're not allowed to kill him. And if you're killing him, you're going to jail. But later on, you're going to be released. So I guess in a sense they were saying to the combat soldiers, if there is a fight, no terrorist comes out alive.
I don't know about that. The fighting went on in Be'eri after they evacuated us from Saturday till Tuesday. There was still fighting because the terrorists, they hid inside the houses. And then the army had to fight with them from house to house. In this house, which is only like 50 meters from my house, was the Gat family. And the Gat family had people murdered. And the mother was shot over there. And there was a video of her putting her tongue out at the terrorists just before they kill her. So it was very famous.
The place is completely wrecked. Look, bullet holes in the walls, ceilings.
You've seen a lot of houses that were taken down, but the western areas near to Gaza, we still haven't taken the houses down. There's a big discussion of what to do in terms of memory. This is the house of Vivian Silver. She was an Israeli-Canadian woman. She was a remarkable woman, the true woman of peace. And her sad ending is just the irony. She was at home alone. They get to her and they lit the house on fire. And her remains were found here later. She was, of course, friends with my family, with my parents.
On the wall, what does that say?
Somebody write revenge. Vivian Silver would not want that.
How do you feel about what happened? How do you feel about the Palestinians?
A lot of them did not want us here before and after. On October 7th, they show how much hate they have for us. I think the key is you have to try to solve the situation somehow, or it gets worse. And some people said that I told you they always want to kill us. We have no choice. We must fight them. What I thought was that fighting is never a solution. And now I'm going to be political. I think that the Israeli leadership for many years believed in not having a resolution because it served the purpose. You can always claim that there was no way to solve this, but no way to solve this is not a plan, not a solution.
What do you think is the resolution?
First of all, I'm happy not to be in charge, but I think we owe it to ourselves to have a leader with some kind of resolution in mind. Kill them all kind of solution is not my cup of tea, and also let's put settlements inside the Gaza Strip or have a military occupation is not my cup of tea. I don't know what will work, but I know what will not work. And I think that you need to have some kind of resolution. You can go with the kill them all or with the transfer, with the Trump vision of whatever, Trump towers in Gaza or whatever shit that someone would buy. But someone needs to give a different solution. Sadly, I think that right after October 7th, Israel was in the best possible, international position to find a solution. Now the goodwill is wasted. We had a good standing internationally, and now we don't even have the support of many in the US and Europe. We disagree in Israel as well. And the Israeli government for the last 2 years does not have a plan what to do.
I'm going to try and put myself in your place. My kids could have been killed on that day.
Right.
And I wonder how I would have felt. I've been in war. I know how when I saw certain things, it brought up emotions I didn't even know were there. Emotions that I had to work on to control. How about you? I mean, the emotional feelings come up in you. There's an anger, there's a fear. You feel like you want to strike back, maybe kill.
I understand. I was very scared. I want every Hamas that was involved. All of them must be dealt with. We Israelis had a special unit hunting down the Nazis for years after World War II, and I think that's appropriate. However, this is not a plan for what's going to happen in the future here. Revenge is not a good plan. I always even though I have emotions, I always look at things logically. Be'eri will be safer than it was before. Maybe before we were living in some kind of denial, obviously.
Maybe you're complacent, you got used to things, it was okay.
But probably living in denial.
Did you have a sense of the Palestinian rage that was shown on October 7th?
First of all, no. And second of all, I'm not even sure it was Palestinian rage. It was an organized army sent by Hamas that came to conquer us. My point of view is that revenge from the government is not a plan. It's actually a good fuel for the soldiers in battle. But it's not a plan. Not a real solution. That being said, and I am contradictions. I am human, I want sensible solution, but I also cannot help but to think for revenge. I don't have any problem with killing everyone involved. Everyone involved should be dead. No question about it.
When you
Okay.
say everyone, about all of the Palestinians who came out of Gaza and perpetrated this.
Yes, of course. They came into my house to kill my family and me, to conquer, to do horrible things to people in my kibbutz and many other places. Each and every one of those 5,000, 10,000, 15,000, I don't know how many people involved, they should get a bullet to their heads.
At the entrance to this totally burned out house, there's a banner in blue and white. Those are the Israeli flag colors. There's a picture of a young man. It says in Hebrew and English, "In this house lived Noah, who was brutally murdered in the Hamas attack on October 7th.
Yes, over here, this house was not burned, but they were also murdered. Every guy, every woman has a terrible story. They went from house to house, targeting everyone. They didn't have intel. They went everywhere.
As we walk around, we're seeing more banners where people were murdered. To think Eyal and his family, his wife and 3 kids, were in the middle of this massacre. They murdered people behind his house, in the house connected to his house, all around them. There's a terrible irony here.
This kibbutz, and maybe some of the others that were attacked, were probably where you would find people more prone
To building some kind of relationship with the Gaza Palestinians, maybe even the so-called two-state solution.
Yeah, but now it's not something to think about. Like they were celebrating in Gaza at the murder Hamas did to us.
What would you most hope for when you and your family return to Be'eri?
I think of this many times. I hope someday we walk from our house here across Gaza to the sea. We walk in peace.
Thank you for listening to episode 1 of Israeli Voices, Who We Are. Many, many thanks to Eyal Ben Zvi and Nevo Garfunkel. You'll find more about Eyal and Nevo in our show notes. In episode 2, Americans and Cookies in the Judean Hills. Racial meritocracy and inequality past and present. Real estate entrepreneurship where the land is government-owned. Guiding the kids through social media and military commitment. Tel Aviv's economic prowess, Mediterranean beachy cafe vibe, missile terrors, hostage square remembrance of the damaged, lost, and missing. And also groundbreaking, politically correct feminist influences on journalism, police brutality, gender harmony. Citizen Arts is a not-for-profit 501c3 educational organization that seeks to present constructive, compelling information, ideas, and opinions about important civic, social, and cultural matters. We very much welcome your feedback. Dear listeners, please stay healthy in mind and body, both in goodwill and wise in action. I'm Jim Gabe, Citizen Arts founder. Jill Gabe is executive producer. Jeff Lewis is producer and artistic director. Hillik Wald is our Israel field producer.